Dr. Gregory Sullivan, and I'm the Chief Medical Officer at TNX Pharmaceuticals. Horizon is evaluating the efficacy of TNX-102 SL as a monotherapy compared to placebo on the change from baseline in the Montgomery-Åsberg Depression Rating Scale score at week 6, and it's in adults or adults who are 18 years or older with major depressive disorder. To get into the trial, they have to have a MADRS score of 25 or above, and we are not studying treatment resistance in this trial. And the dose of TNX-102 SL, which is a sublingual formulation of cyclobenzaprine, is 5.6 milligrams versus placebo. The other objective is to evaluate the safety and tolerability of TNX-102 SL in adults with major depressive disorder. We have studied TNX-102 SL to a great degree in a different disorder, fibromyalgia. And like we did in fibromyalgia, we're targeting non-refreshing sleep. In other words, impaired sleep quality. So both in fibromyalgia and major depressive disorder, sleep studies, polysomnography studies have consistently shown reduced sleep quality, which is usually reflected in polysomnography as a decreased time in deep restorative slow wave sleep. And our formulation of sublingual cyclobenzaprine produces a very strong binding and inhibition of two key receptors in the brain that are involved in sleep architecture. And that's the 5-HT2A receptor, the serotonin 2A receptor, and the alpha-1 adrenergic receptor. So those are the prime mechanisms as we think of them. Basically, it's a completely different approach from anything on the market currently for depression, in that we don't know of any other antidepressant that's on the market that's targeting sleep quality, and by improving quality of sleep, as well as reducing the fragmentation of rapid eye movement sleep, deep dreams or deep dream sleep, we believe we are enhancing what are the nightly neurorestorative effects of sleep on the brain. So it just a lot has been figured out in recent years about what happens during sleep. The brain is very active, and certain stages of sleep have very important functions in restoring processes that have gotten out of balance in the daytime. So on a nightly basis, your brain, and most of this happens during slow wave sleep, deep sleep, is clearing out cytokines, inflammatory chemicals in the brain. Literally, that's like a kind of flow out of the brain of them, but it's dependent on slow wave sleep, and turning down. During a stressful day, you're making a lot of new synapses that are memories that you don't need to be continuing in your daily life, and so there's this downscaling of new memories by synaptic downscaling that occurs in this deep sleep. You restore the kind of normal stress response axis, your amount of sympathetic to parasympathetic balance, your amount of cortisol released, and restoring. There's a lot on the default mode network that's found from neuroimaging in depression, where if an overactive default mode network in people who are depressed is reflected by hyperactivity in certain areas of the brain, and a hypoactivity in areas like your prefrontal cortex, which is doing a lot of your executive function. So if you have this kind of imbalance that happens in major depressive disorder, it's you've got much more self-referential thinking, that kind of depressive rumination thinking, and much less ability to have your complex executive thinking because it's been kind of knocked out of the prime activity of the brain, and so deep sleep is also restorative of that network, bringing it back to default network that's more normal activity. So essentially, we're trying to facilitate the brain's, you know, daily homeostatic reset mechanism. So making, trying to get the brain's natural recovery mechanism back online. So the, active ingredient in our drug product is the molecule cyclobenzaprine, which has been around for years as a muscle relaxant.